Meteorologist Chris Yates. Temperature starting to warm up a little bit. It's also getting a little bit muggier. Let's start off right here in Peoria. Nice view on the Brave Lost Center camera, 73 degrees. And we're starting to see a few, we've got some high clouds out there, but starting to see some lower clouds now beginning to develop as the atmosphere starts to destabilize just a little bit. Noticeably cooler up in LaSalle, Peru, and while we don't have any storms now, storm chances are expected to ramp up over the next few hours. Some may be severe. We'll have that forecast coming up. WMBD News at 4 starts now.
It was one of our biggest problems. He was very quiet, kept things to himself.
Right now at 4, finding a motive. Tonight, when investigators are learning about the person they say was behind a mass shooting.
How lucky am I to be at the helm for it? I cannot wait.
And staying safe while setting sail. Ships worldwide have been stuck in port for over a year. Now how cruise lines are preparing for passengers. And setting yourself up for a good night's sleep. In our Stories for Your Health, the new research looking at how effective over-the-counter sleep aids actually are. Thanks so much for keeping up to date with WMBD News at 4. I'm Shelby Roberts. Mark has the night off. We start with talks over the creation of a commission to investigate the January 6th attacks on the nation's capital. Tonight, it's something that Senate Republicans are preparing to block. Joining me live now from our Washington, D.C. bureau is Jessie Tenor. She's sharing some of the insight ahead of that vote.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Shelby. Many Republicans already have their minds made up, but that still didn't stop Democrats and even the family of one of the victims from trying to change that today. 5 Americans lost their lives in the aftermath of the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, including Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick.
He just was doing his job and he got caught up in it, and it's very sad.
Sicknick's mother met with several Republican senators Thursday, urging them to support the House-passed bill to establish a bipartisan commission to investigate the attack.
Usually I'm staying in the background, and I couldn't stay quiet anymore.
But Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell opposes the commission, since the Department of Justice and multiple congressional committees are conducting their own investigations.
I do not believe the additional extraneous commission that Democratic leaders want would uncover crucial new facts or promote healing.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says McConnell's position is purely political calculation.
Senate Republicans oppose the commission because they fear that it might upset Donald Trump and their party's midterm messaging.
President Biden argues such a consequential threat to American democracy deserves a thorough investigation.
I can't imagine anyone voting against the establishment of a commission on the greatest assault since the Civil War on the Capitol.
But some Republicans, like Maine Senator Susan Collins, instead want an outside independent commission to investigate.
To make sure that it truly is balanced, fair, and bipartisan.
Now, 35 House Republicans broke from GOP leadership to vote for the legislation, including all 10 who also voted to impeach former President Trump. Live in Washington, I'm Jessie Tenor.
Jessie, live for us in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much. Well, in our other national headlines, police and federal investigators are back on the scene of the nation's latest mass shooting. They're now working to determine why a man would open fire on his co-workers at a Northern California rail yard. 10 people are now dead, including that gunman. Santa Clara County's sheriff is now working to get warrants to search the suspect's emails, phones, texts, and social media accounts. A neighbor's doorbell did catch the suspect on tape as he loaded his vehicle before heading to work yesterday morning. One manager that worked with many of the victims expressed his frustrations with reporters yesterday.
I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm lost in words. At the same time, trying to find out reasons why. None of our family members from VTA or the extended family deserve this punishment.
And a vigil for those victims will be happening tonight. Yesterday's mass shooting was the 9th major one in the past 3 months in the United States. Moving to news from around Illinois right now, a driver in Rockford is dead after crashing into a house on the city's west side. It happened on Kilburn Avenue, south of Meridian, around 10 last night. Take a look here at your screen. Fire officials say that the car slammed into the side of the home, ripping off the gas meter there. The driver was trapped inside. That driver did die at the scene. Crews went door to door evacuating homes within a quarter mile of the scene as the gas did leak into the air. Investigators are still looking into what caused that crash. Well, in the Quad Cities, both sides resting in the trial of the man accused of killing University of Iowa student Molly Tibbetts. But that wasn't before Christian Rivera took the stand in his own defense. On the stand, Rivera claimed that two men wearing all black clothing broke into his trailer, forcing him at gun and knife point to take them for a drive in his car. He claims that the men put something in the trunk and directed him to a cornfield. Once there, Rivera says he opened the trunk and saw a lifeless body. He then says he buried it under corn stalks. But during cross-examination, the prosecution wanted to know what happened to those two men.
I didn't see them again. I don't know where they went.
You drove the two men in your Malibu to the cornfield where you dumped Molly Tibbetts, correct?
Yes.
And you happened to find your cell phone and the keys in the trunk of the car?
Yes.
And these two men just disappeared?
That's right.
Closing statements in that trial started this morning. Well, yesterday, Champaign police honoring Officer Chris Oberheim. This came exactly a week after he was shot and killed responding to a domestic disturbance call. A funeral was held in Decatur, and then the procession moved to Monticello, where he was laid to rest. Hundreds of people turned out to pay their final respects, and many people who did not even know the officer showed up along the processional route.
After a couple of tough years with a lot of negative attention for the police departments, it was nice to see the community come together, and we just hope that this can kind of motivate the police officers, show them that the community still supports them.
After the service, law enforcement officials from all across the state did line up to go to the cemetery. The funeral was for family, friends, invited guests, as well as first responders. Well, in just a few days, people across the country will honor America's fallen on Memorial Day. Last year, CBS's Steve Hartman asked musicians to play taps at 3 o'clock sharp, and it became one of the largest musical performances of all time. As Elise Preston shows us, Hartman hopes that taps across America will become a national tradition.
This is what Memorial Day sounded like last year for tens of thousands of buglers and trumpeters. With Memorial Day parades and ceremonies canceled because of the pandemic, they honored America's patriots by playing taps. From coast to coast, musicians of all skill levels answered the call from CBS's Steve Hartman and Taps for Veterans' Yari Villanueva. Together, they created Taps Across America.
I was not surprised. I was blown away that everybody felt as I did, that this is what America needed right now.
The idea came from a story Hartman did 9 years ago with Don Britton from Tacoma, Washington. He played taps every day at sunset to honor America's veterans.
I'm in another zone when I'm playing. I'm not aware of anything but the fact that I'm playing this, and I'm trying to play it as best as I can, do a good job.
What about that story resonated with you years later?
What struck me most about that story was not just the playing of the taps, but when the neighbors came out and stood on their balconies, on their porch, and it blew me away. It brought me to tears in the moment.
A moment so moving, he wants all Americans to experience it.
Even if they don't remember I was a journalist, if they remember I had anything to do with starting Taps Across America, that's fine with me. Life well served.
Once again, he's asking musicians to sound those 24 notes Monday afternoon, so those who hear taps will stop and remember America's fallen. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
And Steve Hartman is asking buglers, trumpeters, and really anyone to join what he hopes will become again a national tradition of playing taps at 3 o'clock sharp local time on Memorial Day. Well, Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates has your full weather forecast when we return.
You're watching WMBD News, Central Illinois Proud, with Mark Welp and Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates with your local Weather Authority forecast. This is WMBD News at 4. Closed captioning on WMBD, sponsored by Uftring Ford.
This isn't your typical runaway bride scene.